Hey everybody, how are you doing today? I am Michaela Valletta and I'm live on my IG page. I'm going to save it and post it to my YouTube. In case you're unfamiliar with me, I am an exercise physiologist, a holistic sports nutritionist. I have a huge interest in infectious diseases and genetic diseases, also degenerative ones. But my interest in infectious disease and genetic diseases began way back in the 90s. So before I got into exercise science, I was a biotechnology major, which is all about genetic engineering. So I've really been into genetics as well. And over the years, I have continued to read research. And once I got into nutrition affects genes, okay? And so it's complementary to the things that I was already interested in. Nutrition affects genes, it affects our immune system as well. Okay, so my interest in genetic diseases and infectious diseases and then degenerative diseases, which are all different classes, right? It just has continued over the years and is integrated with my nutrition and exercise science knowledge, okay? So with that being said, some of you may or may not be aware that the American Cancer Society came out with a statement 2 days ago about the increased deaths from colon cancer, breast cancer, uterine cancer, and like pancreatic cancer. But colon cancer is now the number one cause of death for men under 50. And I think the number two cause of death for women under 50. And also breast cancer. Yes, so all of those have been on the rise. Hold on. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should have written this down. What was number one for women, but I know colon cancer is number one for men under 50 and number two for women under 50. Cancer is the fourth leading cause of death for teenagers, period. So with that being said, I'm listening to, you see on the news, people will bring doctors on and they ask them, why is this happening? Which to me, it's not smart to ask doctors why it's happening, because that's not what they study. If you want to know why we're seeing more increased risks of cancers, and first of all, everything's an epidemic now. Autoimmune diseases of every sort is an epidemic. Degenerative diseases are an epidemic. Genetic diseases are an epidemic. Okay, everything's an epidemic. But if you want to know why, why are we seeing increased risks of increased rates of everything amongst younger and younger people? And the cancer, hey Tiana, I'm glad you do. Please share the videos. The people, and people are getting more aggressive forms of cancer. And you always hear that black people are dying from cancer more and getting more aggressive forms. And so what the doctors in the medical community say is, that's because of healthcare, okay? Inadequate healthcare and getting it diagnosed late. But that answer doesn't make sense because, it makes sense to a degree, okay? If you catch it sooner, then you can get rid of it sooner, so you have a likelier chance to live. But the question is, why is there such high rates of cancer, okay? And also strokes. Snoop Dogg's daughter, 24 years old, first of all, she has an autoimmune disease. She has lupus, okay? Which 25 years ago, nobody knew what lupus was, okay? I remember 20 years ago learning that Trick Daddy had it and thinking that 20 years ago, autoimmune diseases, I was seeing the uptick in it. In the 90s, I remember seeing ads about lupus on the subway in New York, and nobody really knew what lupus was. So, autoimmune diseases, I said it on the rise, okay? Then she had a stroke at 24. A lot of people were trying to blame it on the jab. But if you look, there's a lot of stories recently, okay? If you go on YouTube and put young people in strokes, you'll see that there are a lot of recent stories about the amount of young people who are dying from strokes, or not dying from strokes, having strokes, right? Now I say young, I mean in their 20s, okay? So you'll see that, but it's not just recent. It's also, you'll see stories from 10 years ago, 11 years ago, where doctors are saying they're seeing more and more strokes in younger people in their 20s, okay? So what is that about? All right, and so the thing that the doctors say Every time people ask the doctors, they always say the same thing. Oh, obesity, smoking, sedentary lifestyle. They usually say, they say diet, okay? And it is true that all those things contribute, okay? Diet definitely matters. It's numero uno. But doctors don't know about diets, and that's not what they study. And that's the thing I was going to say, too. Asking doctors why there's an increased incidence, only information you can get from doctors is what they've been observing. They can say we can get information from them in terms of the fact that they've been observing certain cancers in younger and younger people, and they've been observing it for a long time. Okay, but when it comes to asking them why or how do you prevent it, they're not the people to ask. The people to ask are the people who are constantly reading research. And even that's one good thing about YouTube. If you tap into the right things and the right people, you can learn a lot. Like, there's a lot of trash on the internet, but there's also a lot of people who are, they're researchers, or they're people, either they've been actively involved in research, or they're constantly reading the studies, or both. And they're constantly reading the studies from all around the world and analyzing it for years. Doctors don't do that. Okay, doctors do not read studies. They're not scientists. And when they work with patients, it's very brief. Like when I work with when I work with clients, I do very in-depth evaluations. I spend like an hour talking to the person, asking them in-depth questions. It's not enough for you to tell me you eat bacon and eggs for breakfast. I'm going to ask you, where do you get it from? What kind is it? What kind of fat are you cooking in it? What kind of pan are you cooking it in? Like, I ask very detailed questions. Because when people say, oh, I was just healthy and then I had a stroke. I was just healthy and then I was perfectly healthy. It's like, well, how are we measuring healthy? And to the medical community, they measure it like as this. They'll say, okay, you're a non-smoker. You're not obese. You exercise every day. So that means you shouldn't get cancer. And people like that are getting cancer. Somebody wrote, my nanny and granddad got the C-19 vaccine and got very sick. My nanny now has heart problems and my granddad has cancer. Oh, damn, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm going to say, my parents took it, and actually they both had it. They both had C-19. I don't want to say that word because every time I say the word, they start blocking what you're talking about. But both of my parents actually had it last week, and I did not know that. I was taking care of them, but I didn't think, my dad has suspected that he had it. And my mom then said, I think I have it too. And, and then, my dad got like a weird heart issue now, but it's like, I don't know if it came from that because it's like an extra heartbeat that they didn't know he had. Not that maybe I shouldn't be discussing his personal stuff on the internet, but I've gone with him to the cardiologist and the doctor, and they say they don't see it. Like, it's a abnormal heartbeat, like an extra heartbeat, but they're saying it's non-pathological. But I don't know if it came from that because I remember he had that. He had another doctor monitor it in the past, and I can't remember if it's before that or not. But we do know that it's caused a lot of incidences of myocarditis, and especially in young people. And the thing is, it's not just that jab that has done that. It's all of them. If you look at, there's many books on my Instagram page. Like, if you're on YouTube, definitely follow me on Instagram because I'm always posting books. And if you're on Instagram, you can check my stories. You can check my page. I'm always posting books. And there's a lot of books that's been written about the history of all vaccines, and all of them have, leading to cancer and all kinds of other problems later on in life. Okay, and this younger generation, my generation had a few, but this younger generation, like if they go on their vaccine schedule, they have had like 70-something shots by the time they graduated high school. And with babies, they're injecting all this poison and toxin into them. Absolutely crazy. But getting certain illnesses, getting chicken pox and getting even measles and mumps and childhood illnesses actually not just strengthens your immune system against that and other infectious organisms, but it also prevents cancer and heart disease of various sorts later on in life. Okay, so it is really weak. Vaccines can cause autoimmune diseases. I have videos that I made where I speak about that in depth, and I have books where that I can post. I have posted that explain how this happens in depth, and I'm not going to get into that, but it definitely ruins your immune system and can cause autoimmune diseases. Okay, so now imagine taking several vaccines. All right, so so this is the thing with the cancer. Now, for me, if you look at the rates of cancer, like Chadwick Boseman, okay, he died of colon cancer in 2020, and he was 43. So he's under this. Now they're saying that screening should begin at 45 and not 50. But there's a lot of people younger than 45 who are dying of colon cancer. And so when I see a lot of these celebrities, like I just saw Christina Applegate say she had multiple sclerosis, a lot of times I'm like, I wonder if they were vegans. Always look it up. Chadwick Boseman, he was a vegan. Okay. Christina Applegate, she's been a long time vegetarian. Okay. So if you want to prevent cancer, you need to have high levels of vitamin D. Okay. And vitamin A. Okay. They absolutely work together. Vitamin D and vitamin A are extremely important with preventing all kinds of cancers. And there is only in animal foods. So if you're on a vegan vegetarian diet, you are surely not getting enough. And then if you're melanated and you're dark skinned black people, and that's one of the reasons why I think black people have more aggressive forms, is because they're melanated and more vitamin D deficient. Okay, the vitamin D deficiencies are worse. And the darker somebody is, like all the black men I know that have gotten super aggressive forms of prostate cancer, they're all dark skinned. Okay, so it's that vitamin D, all right? And so none of these doctors in the news say, talk about the importance of vitamin D and vitamin A and a lot of other nutrients that are also really important, certain fats. So they have talked about the gut, right? So I've heard a few of the doctors talk about the gut microbiome, which is very important for not only preventing colon cancer, but every kind of cancer, okay? And I've been talking about this. I've been knowing about this since the 90s. And I've been talking about it publicly for 20 years. And I hear people saying, oh, this is new information. This is new information. It's not new information. It is absolutely not new information. But the fact of the matter is, most people aren't reading research. They learn what they learned in school. They memorized the bare minimum so they could pass and get their licenses. And then they got indoctrinated by the profession. This is how you do things. And they don't spend time reading research, And doctors, their nutrition and stuff like that is not their, but I'm just saying it's not new information. And people who follow me know you've heard me talk about protecting my microbiome a lot. Like I'm always talking about how I don't use hand sanitizers at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't take antibiotics. I don't use antibiotic ointment. Okay. And it's just crazy to me how clueless doctors are. There's so many things that's come into my mind that I want to talk about. This is going on to another tangent of a topic when it comes to this. But, and when they keep talking about the obesity thing, a lot of people who are being diagnosed with cancer are not obese. Okay, so it's like they memorize, it doesn't matter what illness it is. Every time they ask doctors, oh, why are we seeing such a large occurrence? And how can we prevent it? They say the same thing for everything. Smoking tobacco, diet, and diet is a very general term. Like, what does that mean? Of course, yes, diet is an issue, but nobody they don't give. They tell people to avoid ultra processed foods, which you should. But if you follow my work, you'll see that there's a lot of hidden things in food, a lot of hidden MSG, a lot of hidden stuff, and most people have no idea how to read a label. And in the end, it's more than just telling people not to eat ultra-processed food. It's about getting enough vitamin D, enough vitamin A, enough arachidonic acid, enough butyric acid, getting the good bacteria. Like, people need specific, like, nutrients and fats and things that you need to increase, and these are the food sources. Nobody's giving that information. So just saying diet, and leading people to themselves to figure it out, most people is going to go off of, oh, I think I need more fruits and vegetables. I'm going to eat more grains. And then they think that that's, and it's just, no. So it's highly flawed just saying that. But yeah, we're seeing, and also if you want to prevent neurodegenerative diseases like multiple sclerosis and Alzheimer's, you need animal fats, you need vitamin D. And vitamin D is absolutely not in plants. Okay. Yeah, but now, yes, exercising matters, okay? but engaging in strenuous activity. Yes, engaging in strenuous activity, not just because they keep saying things like, oh, walk around 20 minutes every day. Being a New Yorker, I can tell you that's nothing. Okay, that's just regular. That's just what you should be doing. But most Americans are always in their car. So for most Americans, walking 10 blocks or taking a 20-minute walk is a big deal. That should just be, you should have physical activity in your life. That's the problem with the United States. People in cars way too much. But you should be doing that, living an active lifestyle regardless. Yes, you should go to the gym and strength train, but you should also engage in other, like go bike riding, go ice skating, go rollerblading, take some dance classes, take some kickboxing classes, go run up some stadium stairs, and go to the gym and lift weights. So you have to engage in strenuous activity. So it's like when they tell people exercise, some people think, oh, I'm just going to go jog some miles. Too much distance exercise can cause cancer. Okay? So going and being like, I'm going to go train for a marathon, that's cancer causing and bad for your health. So that wouldn't be the good thing. Like, not all exercise is good exercise. Exercise can be catabolic or anabolic. Catabolic meaning it breaks you down, and anabolic meaning it builds you up. Now, even with anabolic, there's a breakdown, but there's a build up. With catabolic, the build up doesn't outweigh the breakdown. So you're breaking down. Your bones are breaking down. You're losing muscle. Those are things that you don't want to happen. Okay, you absolutely don't want to be losing muscle or bone. And so the thing is that the other thing I think that because the cancers that are really increasing right now, colon, uterine, pancreatic, and kidney. And if you think about it, those are, the reproductive, digestive system, which is actually interlinked. What affects your digestive system affects your reproductive system. But people carrying cell phones in their pockets. A lot of people have their cell phone in their pocket, in their back pocket. Okay, so the cell phones being close to you in those areas, and on top of people not protecting their microbiome, okay, not taking that seriously, which means avoiding antibiotics like the plague, eating fermented foods every single day, okay. Your microbiome matters a lot with your immune system and with other disease states, genetic diseases and stuff like that. Vitamin D and vitamin A, which need each other, okay. You have the fats. Like, people think, oh, I cook with coconut oil and avocado oil and olive oil, and that's just the healthiest things. No, it's not. You definitely want butter in the mix so you can get iodine. And butter has butyric acid, which is critical. Butter and ghee. Butyric acid is a short-chain fatty acid that is essential for preventing cancer. Okay? And they tell people, oh, eat more fiber because the bacteria make the short-chain fatty acids. But the fact of the matter is, eating butter and eating ghee and eating the butyric acid actually helps to feed the good bacteria. If you already have an imbalance of bacteria, eating all those fruits and vegetables, it's not going to help change that microbiome, okay? And it's full of a lot of sugar, which actually feeds bad bacteria. Bad bacteria eat sugar, and fruits and vegetables is carbohydrates, which is sugar, okay? And so consuming the ghee and the butyric, and also ghee is high in vitamin D and A. So look, you get vitamin D, vitamin A, butyric acid. Lard, in 1 teaspoon of lard, you can get 1,000 IUs of vitamin D. People need to be taking several IUs of vitamin D or consuming every single day. Okay? So you have cod liver oil, like right here. I did a video yesterday about cancer care and skin. And somebody was asking me about vitamin K with vitamin D and vitamin A. So this is something that I consume, which is like a fermented cod liver oil and concentrated butter oil, okay? And it's made by a company called Green Pastures. And the company, they independently test things, because sometimes you buy vitamin supplements, and I don't consume vitamin supplements, I consume whole food supplements. So this is a whole food supplement. It's actually a food. Cod liver oil is a food. And if you're of a certain age, you were given cod liver oil as a kid. But cod liver oil is very high in vitamins A and D. This is made through the fermentation process, which is like the best way to make it. But also combining it with the butter oil is high in vitamin K. And so that's how you get you get the A, D, and K. Now, if somebody just wanted to, and one thing you can always remember, The fat-soluble vitamins are the last 4 letters of my name. Vitamins K, E, D, and A. Those are the fat-soluble vitamins. Kata, okay? And I love talking about those vitamins. But if you just are taking quality cod liver oil, you just want to make sure to eat a lot of butter, okay? Because they do work in unison, vitamins K, A, and D. And the vitamin K helps the vitamin D be utilized even better, okay? Because vitamin D is involved in calcium metabolism, and so is vitamin K. So the thing is, vitamins do not work alone, okay? Vitamins and minerals don't work alone. That's why I never just recommend just taking vitamin pills, okay? But yeah, so I just feel like, you know, this rise in colon cancer, in deaths from colon cancer. So there's probably a lot of deaths. One doctor was saying that they've been seeing a rise in colon cancer for several years now. So now, but it takes people years to die. So now a lot of those people are dying. So there's, you know, such a high rate of, it's the number one cause of death of men, is colon cancer. Okay. And so yes, the microbiome completely matters. You have to protect that with your life, avoiding antibiotics, you know, avoiding foods that are full of antibiotics and herbicides. There's herbicides and pesticides in the fruits and vegetables. There's antibiotics in the meat and milk if you're getting it from the regular commercial food industry, which is why you want to support local farmers and get, you know, milk and meat that is antibiotic free as much as you can, and get fruits and vegetables that are herbicide and pesticide free, and not take antibiotics, not use a hand sanitizer, eat fermented foods every single day. Okay, you get your vitamin D levels up. When it's sunny out, get out in the sun, especially when it's the hottest time of the day between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. If you live north of Atlanta, you can only do that like from April to October. But when those warmer months, make sure that you have as much, if you have melanin, make sure you have as much of your skin as possible exposed to the sun between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. But you also need to get it from your diet. So that's the cod liver oil. That's eating liver. That is the lard and the pork fat, fish eggs. Okay, there is vitamin D in egg yolks and butter, but it's not a whole lot. Okay, but of course that too. It's just not a whole lot of it. And so, so do those things. Also, you know, the American Cancer Society is always telling people to put on sunscreen, when that's blocking the vitamin D production and full of cancer-causing chemicals, okay? You want to avoid cooking with canola oil, soybean oil. See, people keep stressing the high fructose corn syrup and the sugar, and they're telling people, oh, don't drink so much soda. First of all, I don't think Americans drink so much soda anymore. I see way more soda drinking when I'm in the Caribbean and in South America. And by the way, they said that the colon cancer rates are not even just rising. The colon cancer deaths are not just rising in the United States. They're rising in every single, maybe you could say developed country in the world, okay? And so, why is that? You know, could it be the technology and the cell phones? Could it be the fact that a lot of people are moving away from their traditional foods and eating fermented foods? And I don't know how many countries in Europe are starting to believe. I don't know. There's a lot of countries in Europe. So, you know, the UK is pretty bad. The UK is full of processed foods, way worse than the United States. But I don't know if they all believe in this low-fat stuff that they push in America. But definitely pushing all this low-fat agenda, telling people to consume low-fat dairy, and, you know, you're consuming pasteurized, homogenized dairy and lean meats. You don't want to consume lean meat, lean protein, because protein and fat go together. When you consume a bunch of protein without the fat, it depletes your vitamin A. So every food that's high in protein is also high in fat. Eggs, dairy, meat. You look at steak, pork chop, ring of fat around it. You look at bacon, fat all in it. You know, egg yolks, eggs, protein, and fat. So you need fat to digest protein. So when people are consuming like protein powders, or they're consuming skinless, you know, chicken breast that's so lean and there's no fat, not good. Not good. And, you know, the omega-3, the EPA and DHA fats, which are in like salmon and shrimp, and those salmon and shrimp are also high in a good source of vitamin D. The EPA and DHA fats, which are also very anti-cancerous, they also work better with saturated fat. So that's why when I make salmon or I make shrimp, I'll make like a buttery sauce, okay? Because that butter actually, not only does it taste good, but it helps you utilize the nutrients better in the salmon and the fats, okay? So nutrition is complementary, and nobody talks about that. They're just like, they throw out these general things that's not going to help you if you don't understand like really how to apply it and really what do you need, and really how to know what is processed. Do you know that food that has sunflower oil in it is not good? Soybean oil, canola oil, safflower oil, all those are highly toxic, highly cancer-causing, highly pro-inflammatory. And the sugar is bad, but people always stress the sugar and not these rancid seed oils that are super cancer-causing. Where did I get my raw milk in Chicago? I get it from a place called Amish and Healthy Foods. It is, it's in Ukrainian village or Northwestern. And they get their new delivery of raw milk and heavy cream. Their heavy cream is amazing. It will change your life. They get it every Tuesday, like around 4 p.m. is when they get their new shipment from the farm in Indiana. And they sell it till they run out. So if you go there like on a Friday, they might have sold out, they might not have. So unless you're going to go on a Tuesday or Wednesday, after that, I would call them, because sometimes they sell out really quick, or sometimes they don't. But I call them first before I make the trek there. But that's where I get it. And no, Whole Foods doesn't have it. No Whole Foods has it in any city that I've been to. So yeah, like, and when people talk about family history, and they're saying all these people now who are getting cancer and dying of cancer, they don't have a family history of it. The thing is, again, genetic diseases, people get that confused. They think that genetic disease means, oh, you got it from your parents. No, genetic disease means your genes code for cancer. They're coding for this, right? Now, that can happen because of something you inherited from your parents. But that more often happens because of the environment. Because it's something you were exposed to or not exposed to. Genes that were turned on or off. Genes that were mutated, okay, in order to code for cancer. And that happens when you're exposed to carcinogens. And vitamin D is responsible for turning on and off about 2,000 genes in our body. Okay? So vitamin D is like, I swear, whatever disease you think of, you could Google it in vitamin D and you'll find several studies of vitamin D deficiency is linked to, you'll see the whole mechanism of action of how it's linked to that issue. And so, yeah, like I was saying, Christina Applegate with the multiple sclerosis, like, that definitely is due to vitamin D deficiencies and deficiencies in animal fats like EPA and DHA, cholesterol. I have a video where I talk about that. It's like called Fish Oil, Cod Liver Oil, Cholesterol, and Optimal Brain Health, where I explain why those fats, those long-chain omega-3 fats, the arachidonic acid, the cholesterol, all of which are only in animal foods, are critical for your brain, critical for preventing Alzheimer's and dementia as you age. And people aren't eating those things because people are being told to eat fish oil. Fish oil is toxic. You don't want to eat fish oil. It's really toxic. It's cod liver oil, quality cod liver oil that you want to eat. So anyhow, I'm going to start doing conversations on YouTube where people can ask me questions. So like, if there are health questions that you have, you can send a donation to ask, and I'll answer them right there. So I'm going to start doing sessions like that on YouTube. I might start it with it tonight, but I just had to talk about this because I'm just like listening to these doctors talk, and it's just like, there are conversations on YouTube with people who actually have been studying the research, involved in research. Sometimes it might be doctors too, and it might be doctors who actually take the time to read research, which the ones they bring in the news, like, they're so lightweight. And they're going to do that because the pharmaceutical companies and the food companies are the ones who advertise on commercial stations. So you cannot go on the news, which is, and offend their advertisers. And who are their advertisers? The advertisers are the pharmaceutical companies, big pharma, and big agriculture, big food. And those people are the same people. There's a book called Food Politics that I had to read my first year of my first grad program 20 years ago, okay, at Columbia. And it was a book called Food Politics by a woman named Marion Nestle. She was a professor at NYU, and she worked for the FDA and the USDA, and she wrote this book about how they're all the same people. Even the people that go from the FDA to the USDA, like, if you notice every single president, the people that they a head is the head of this, and the people that they appoint as the head of this and the head of that always came from another organization. And more money is given to the food companies than any other industry. The food company gives more money. The food companies give more money to politicians than any other industry. Okay, even more so than the pharmaceuticals. But again, they're the same people. They really are. Okay, so the cancer deaths. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me just get the right stats real quick. Okay, so the leading cause of cancer deaths in women right now is lung cancer. Okay, and upper respiratory tract infections and all that is completely linked to vitamin D deficiencies. There's so much research about that. The people who are vitamin D deficient are more likely to get not just upper respiratory tract infections, but bad ones. Okay. You have breast cancer, number 2. Colon and rectum, number 3 for women. Even though I've seen some things that said colon cancer is number 2 for women. So I don't know. Then we have pancreas, ovarian, uterine, liver. Okay. So the uterus, the ovaries, the pancreas, the colon, they're all in this area that people hold their cell phones, reproductive, digestive area. We have the breast, and then we have the lungs. Okay, so we have the root and the heart. These 2 places. Okay, interesting. So but I'm gonna look at one other thing. I'm looking at some, and yeah. So the strokes again. Hold on. The strokes. There's so many strokes that young people are having as well. Okay, lung cancer is the number 1 cause for men. It is too deaths, and I did a video about that a couple months ago about how many people are dying from lung cancer who never smoked a day in their life. Okay, and I keep coming across people and going to people's homes who have artificial scents and artificial candles burning and plug-ins, and they take it very lightly that those chemicals that are in those incense, in those candles, are seriously cancer causing, and they can cause lung cancer because you're breathing them in here, so it can cause lung cancer. So I said, breathing poison air, could that contribute to lung cancer? I think so. Okay, I don't hear any doctors talking about that, but they're always like smoking. But meanwhile, the Japanese smoke tons of cigarettes and they don't have a lung cancer problem. So maybe it's the chemicals in what somebody's smoking. Yes. Okay, prostate cancer it's so weird. Different things I'm looking at, because one thing I'm looking at is saying lung cancer remains the leading cause of death for men. But all these reports, the American Cancer Society just put out something that said colon cancer is the leading cause of death for men. And then on here it says prostate cancer is the second for men. You see, all these things are going through the roof. Okay? So why? Yes, get screened and all of that. That might prevent somebody from dying from it because they can find out. But in chemotherapy and radiation is a whole other conversation, how somebody chooses to deal with it. But how do you not get it in the first place? It's more than the lightweight stuff that people are saying. Okay? And so that's all I wanted to say. Hopefully you learned something from this video. If you did, please like it. Please share it. Feel free to check out my other videos. If you put them all together, you'll learn a lot. I'm on my way to the gym, and I hope everybody is staying safe because it looks like it's crazy all over the country with the weather. That's why I decided to stay in New York longer than I normally would, because it's actually fine in New York City. It's not even crazy here, at all. But I'm looking across the country and I see people skidding on ice everywhere and crashing and all this stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay put until that calms down a bit, because I do have to drive through Pennsylvania. I drove here at this time. So I would have to drive through Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana. So I just decided to chill a bit. So just be careful. Take care of yourselves. Stay moisturized. Get your vitamin D and A. Okay. Get some liver, some organ meats, some butter, some eggs. Okay. Get your cell phones up off your body. Get them off the body of your children. because every sort of cancer is on the rise, okay, amongst younger and younger people. And I've been saying for years that the fastest growing rate of cancer was in children. I've been saying this for years. Cancer is so bad that they're saying 1 in 2 people will get cancer. And that by 2030, they expect the rates to go up even more. So, could screening just be the only thing, to help prevent? And, go work out hard, okay? When you're doing things holistically, it's the sum total of everything. It's what you're eating, what you're doing with your body. Cannabinoids have a lot of anti-cancer effects. Like, I consume all the things that I can do and do all the things that I can do. Make sure the air, I'm not breathing air with a whole bunch of chemicals in it and not cooking out of pots and pans with a whole bunch of chemicals. You can't do everything to avoid all the toxins, but you want to do as much as possible so that when you do come in contact with certain toxins, because we can't avoid it completely, we live on a toxic earth, but when we do come in contact with it, we want our body to be able to deal with it. In order for that to be possible, we have to have a good, strong microbiome on our skin and in our gut. We need to have adequate levels of vitamin D and vitamin A. We need to have adequate levels of certain fat. We need to have a strong gut, okay, strong intestinal lining in our mucosal layer in our gut, which, vitamin A is critical for the mucosal membranes. The good bacteria, the arachidonic acid, and the butyric acid are critical for those tight junctions in our gut and our skin. If you don't have those tight junctions in our gut and our skin, all kinds of infectious organisms can get into your body and other things that are not supposed to be there and cause all kinds of immune reactions and inflammation, okay? So if you want to prevent cancer, I put out the information, but you got to move smarter and you got to be proactive about making sure that your nutrient stores and stuff are high. And when you go to the doctor, find out what your vitamin D levels are. And they should be above 50. At least 50. If you're at 35, you're too low. If you're at 25, you're way too low. Okay? So anyhow, I'm going to let you guys go with that. I'm going to head to the gym so I can get my workout on, lift my weights. And you should be lifting weights too. Okay, if you learned something from this, please like it. Please share it. Join me on YouTube. Join me on Instagram. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.